Hello and welcome to Mr. Smart's first ever distance learning class. So today, guys, I'm going to be going over our packet. I'm going to be telling you what the main objective is at first, and then I'm going to go back and break down how to complete the packet online. Anybody who has a paper copy of the packet, that's completely fine. It's only going to look a little bit different, so don't stress out. You can still complete the paper packet instead of doing it online. It does not matter. So, what this is, guys, is an RST. It's a research simulation task. A research simulation task is just basically they give you a bunch of sources, like it was a research project, and then they make you guys read them, analyze them, and then respond to a prompt asking about these sources that you read. And you're going to have to respond in a 4 to 5 paragraph essay. So, before we do this beginning part, I want to explain what I mean when I say sources. So there's 3 sources. Here's the first source. It's an article. Are some humans born evil? This is about an author that's talking about whether human beings are born evil or whether they have to learn to be evil. He's going to have a specific opinion whether he thinks they're born evil or they learn it. It's going to be your job to find evidence of what he thinks. Source 2 is a video. Can babies tell right from wrong? You guys are going to be watching this video of researchers at Yale as they put babies through an experiment to try to figure out if babies already know if there's such thing as good guys and bad guys, right and wrong, or if babies have to be learned or have to be taught these things. So as you guys watch, I want you to be looking for evidence that supports that they're either born knowing the difference or they have to be taught the difference. And then source 3 is a second article. And this guy's going to have a different opinion than the first guy. Is evil innate or learned? And instead of just having notes on the side here, you're going to actually have to answer some questions. So you read this article, and this kind of asks you some questions that guides you through the article. That's why I think it's a little bit easier than the first article. So once you've read all that, you're going to go back to this prompt. Here's the prompt, and here's what it asks you to do. It says, some scientists believe that when human beings are born, they're already good or evil. Other scientists believe that human beings are taught to either be good or evil. Write an informative essay explaining whether human beings are born good or bad, or whether they have to learn to be good or bad. Is it possible for humans to be monsters? Consider the evidence that each text and video provides to explain why people are either good or bad. Be sure to cite text evidence from the articles and video to support your ideas. Right? So this is our whole purpose for doing this packet. We read the sources, we get this prompt, and then we respond to this prompt in an essay. And we have to decide, are human beings good? Are they born good? Or do they learn to be good? Are they born evil or do they learn to be evil? So, let's go back up to the top. Here's how you start the packet. This is the first 2 assignments are just warm-up assignments, just to get your brain thinking. So this is a classic I see, I think, I wonder. I know a lot of you guys will recognize these charts from elementary school. So what do we see here? What do we think about it? And what do we wonder? So, I don't know about you, but I see a red guy with horns, and I see a blue guy looking at him with a halo. So I would put something like that here. I think. What do I think? I think maybe this might be a devil. I think maybe this might be an angel. They might represent something too. Based on those articles, what do you think they might represent? Maybe one represents good, and maybe one represents evil. And then I wonder. So I wonder what this has to do with our assignment. That would be a good question. Or I wonder, are they related? They look the exact same. Except for one guy is red and has a horn, and one guy is blue and has a halo. But look at their noses. Are they the same? Are they different? Where do they come from? All good things to wonder. So there's not necessarily a wrong answer on here. But this is just to get our brains going. And then what makes some human beings do horrible things, such as commit murder? Again, there's a million answers you could put here. This is just to get you thinking about what we're about to be talking about. So answers like greed, hunger, war, envy, jealousy, all these are good examples of things that make human beings do horrible things such as commit murder. So this, again, just to get us warmed up, and now we're going to start doing the main part of the packet. Look, it's the prompt. We already read the prompt. It's basically asking us two questions. What two questions? Are human beings born good or bad, or do they learn to be good or bad? And is it possible for humans to be monsters? So all I'm asking you to do here is put down the two questions that the prompt is asking you to respond to. We do this because it helps us focus while we read these articles and watch the videos. What question are we supposed to be answering? It's these ones. Are human beings born good or bad, or do they learn to be good or bad? And is it possible for humans to be monsters? So this is what we're putting here. Now that we know what we're supposed to be looking for, we can read this first source. Once again, I'm going to be going over this in class. I think it's a little tricky. This is the trickiest article. So this guy is asking, are some human beings born evil? He's going to have a different opinion than the second guy who writes an article. So if you think that human beings are born evil, this is the article for you. You're going to read through and you're going to look for text evidence that shows that human beings are born evil. And they do not learn to be evil, but they're actually born like that. So today in class at 2 o'clock, I will go through this article and read it with you guys and maybe help you find some good text evidence. But again, over here we are just trying to collect evidence that shows that human beings are born evil. Source 2. It's a video. Can babies tell right from wrong? So here's the YouTube clip. If you have the paper packet, it's a little bit hard to type in this whole URL here. You can also just go to YouTube and type in "Can babies tell right from wrong?" and the first video that pops up is the right video. But if you insist on typing this in, just know that this is not a space right here, this is an underscore. An underscore is the button right to the right of 0. If you press shift, you get underscore. So that's a little bit confusing. People have had a hard time finding the video. Once you're watching the video, once again, you're going to try to find evidence of whether humans are born good or born evil, born good or evil, or if they have to be taught good or evil. So really the video only gives evidence of one of these two things. So I don't think you need to have both boxes filled out, but just one box of some seriously good evidence for whether they're born evil or they have to be taught to be evil. And you know it's good evidence when they give you a fact or a statistic. So if they say this percentage of babies recognize this, that's a good fact to be able to put in your essay. Remember, our whole purpose as we go through these sources is looking for evidence that we can use when we write our essay. So here's source 3. Source 3 has the opposite opinion of source 1. So this will give information about how babies have to learn to be evil. And as you read, you need to answer these questions on the side here, and they'll help you understand the article. This is an easier article to understand than source 1, so we'll probably spend less time with it today in class. But again, you need to be looking for evidence here that babies have to learn evil. Once we have gone through all 3 sources, we need to start planning our essay. So remember, what 2 questions are we answering in our essay? Let's look up here at the prompt. Are human beings born good or bad, or do they learn to be good or bad? And is it possible for humans to be monsters? You should have written that right here earlier. So here's our graphic organizer where we can start planning our essay. I believe that people are born evil, or I believe that people have to be taught to be evil. And I do or do not believe that people are monsters, or can be monsters. Obviously, if you you need to say either do or do not. You can't say I do not believe. So make sure you choose one. So I do not believe that people can be monsters. Up to you. Now here you have to have a reason. This is going to be something you learned from your sources. So don't use your own opinion. Don't say something like, I know that people are born evil because my brother was born and he was mean from the first day I ever met him. You can't use that. Even if you think it's true, you have to use something from the sources, right? And then you don't put your evidence here. You put this in your own words. A reason is in your own words, but then you support your reason with text evidence. In source 1, it says, then give me text evidence. This shows. Then explain why your text evidence supports your reason. So again, this part, evidence straight from the text. This part, your own words explaining the evidence from the text. Another reason I believe, so this is just, you come up with a second reason and a second piece of evidence. Counter-argument. Now, remember, this is something we did a lot in class before we went away for break. Some people might argue that if you are arguing that babies are born evil, you're going to say the opposite here. The people that you're arguing against would say the babies are not born evil, and that they have to be taught evil. However, I disagree because, and this is your rebuttal, this is where you're saying, I disagree with this counter-argument, and you're explaining why you disagree. Now, maybe that explanation that I just gave didn't make a lot of sense. We can go over that today in class. But this is something we have practiced quite a bit with while we were reading our novel, Inside Out and Back Again. So, all we're going to be doing today is trying to finish this graphic organizer, and I'm not even sure we're going to be able to get all the way through it during our hour. To be honest, guys, I don't know how this hour is going to go. Hopefully it's helpful for everybody. And then later in the week, we are going to be taking this graphic organizer and turning it into a 4 to 5 paragraph essay, where we have an intro paragraph that answers the question, 2 body paragraphs that support our intro paragraph, and then a counter-argument and rebuttal paragraph, where we look at the other side of the argument and then decide why and explain why we don't agree with them. So that's what we're doing with this packet. It should take us the whole week. I don't want anyone to be too stressed about it. I will be available 3 times this week in class, and then also you guys can call me on Teams or call me on my cell phone. I will make sure my cell phone number is posted on Teams. But sorry if this is confusing to everybody. I hope I get a better system that makes more sense to everybody as we figure out what works and what doesn't. But I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at 2. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.